What if the reason you cannot hear God clearly is not because He is silent, but because your life is too loud? We live in a world filled with constant noise. Notifications, conversations, responsibilities, pressure, and endless thoughts compete for your attention every single day. In that environment, it becomes difficult to recognize the voice of God, not because He has stopped speaking, but because silence has become unfamiliar. If you truly want to hear God's voice, you must understand this principle. Silence is not emptiness, it is a doorway. One of the most powerful examples of this is found in 1 Kings 19, the story of Elijah. Elijah had just experienced a major victory, calling down fire from heaven. But shortly after, he found himself overwhelmed, exhausted, and afraid. He ran into the wilderness and eventually stood on a mountain, waiting for God to speak. In 1 Kings 19, 11-12, it says that a great and strong wind tore through the mountains, but the Lord was not in the wind. Then there was an earthquake, but the Lord was not in the earthquake. Then came a fire, but the Lord was not in the fire. And after the fire came a still small voice. That is where God was. The lesson here is clear. God often speaks in quietness, not in chaos. Elijah had to move beyond the dramatic and enter stillness to recognize God's voice. Now think about your life. How often do you create space for silence, not just physically, but mentally? Or are you constantly filling every quiet moment with noise? If this is hitting home, take a moment to reflect and even share your thoughts in the comments, because this is where many people begin to rediscover clarity. Another powerful moment is found in Luke 5:16, speaking about Jesus himself. It says, "So he himself often withdrew into the wilderness and prayed." This is important. If Jesus, despite his mission and responsibilities, intentionally stepped away from noise to be alone in quiet prayer, then silence is not optional. It is essential. Jesus did not wait for silence to happen. He created it. The lesson here is about intentionality. Hearing God's voice requires deliberate separation from distractions. It is a choice you make, not a condition you wait for. In today's world, this might mean turning off your phone, stepping away from social media, or setting aside specific time where you are not consuming anything, but simply being present. So ask yourself honestly, when was the last time you sat in silence without distraction, just to listen? Then there is the story of Samuel in 1 Samuel 3. Samuel was a young boy serving in the temple when he heard a voice calling his name at night. At first, he did not recognize it. He thought it was Eli calling him. This happened multiple times until Eli realized it was God and instructed Samuel to respond, "Speak, Lord, for your servant hears." In 1 Samuel 3:10, Samuel finally recognized the voice and responded correctly. The lesson here is about recognition. God's voice can be unfamiliar if you are not used to listening. Samuel heard the voice, but he did not understand it at first. This means that learning to hear God is a process. It requires patience, guidance, and consistency. In your life, there may be moments where you sense something, a thought, a direction, a conviction, but you are unsure if it is God. That uncertainty is part of the growth process. So consider this. Are you dismissing subtle impressions because you are expecting something louder or more dramatic? Another deeply reflective moment is found in Psalm 46:10, where it says, "Be still and know that I am God." Stillness is not just about silence. It is about trust. It is about calming your internal noise, your worries, your overthinking, and your need for immediate answers. Because sometimes the loudest noise is not around you, it is within you. The lesson here is internal alignment. Even if you are in a quiet environment, a restless mind can still block clarity. Learning to be still internally is just as important as external silence. Now bring this into your everyday reality. You may be praying, asking God for direction, clarity, or answers, but immediately after, your mind fills with worry, doubt, and overanalysis. What if instead of rushing away from prayer, you stayed in silence a little longer? What if you allowed space for reflection instead of immediately seeking distraction? This is where many people miss it. They speak, but they do not wait. They ask, but they do not listen. As you reflect on this, ask yourself one simple question. After I pray, do I create space to listen, or do I rush back into noise? Bringing all of these lessons together, silence is not weakness. It is positioning. It is in silence that you begin to notice what was always there. It is in silence that your thoughts settle, your focus sharpens, and your awareness increases. It is in silence that God's voice becomes clearer, not because He started speaking, but because you finally became still enough to hear. Right now, take a moment to reflect on your current lifestyle. Is it filled with constant noise, distraction, and activity? Or is there intentional space for quiet, for stillness, for listening? Because the truth is, hearing God is not reserved for a few people. It is available to anyone willing to create the environment for it. If this message speaks to you, take a moment to reflect deeply. Then share your thoughts in the comments, because your journey could help someone else who is learning to listen. And if you know someone who feels disconnected or unsure about hearing God's voice, share this message with them. Start creating moments of silence, even if they are small. Stay consistent, stay intentional, and stay open. And if you are ready to go deeper, watch the next video in this series, where we explore how to clearly distinguish between God's voice and your own thoughts. Because sometimes, the answer you are looking for is not far away. It is just waiting for you in the silence. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to this channel. God bless you.